Okay, so here's my quick tutorial on how to make a time-locked Bitcoin address. Now this is an awesome thing because this is built into Bitcoin. You can make an address in which you have the private key, you have full control, but it can be locked to a time in the future. So I'm first going to show you really quickly how to do it, and then I'm going to show you the proper way to do it because obviously I hate to get on my soapbox, but you definitely want to make sure that you're using a hardware wallet always to be safe. That's either a Ledger, a Trezor, Cold Card, Bitbox, or maybe even the Jade. These are kind of like the top ones. But first, let me just dive right in to give you an overview. There's a simple site, if I can bring up a web page. It's been around forever. Coinb.in. It's developed by MIT researchers, and it's posted on like an Indian domain, I guess. But the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you download the website to your desktop. You don't want to run it from some server in the cloud. And you can see that right here that they have a way where you could download it. Where is it? Yeah, go ahead and download this page. If you click download, you'll go ahead and download a zip file. We can extract that. All right. And then in your downloads folder, you'll have a folder called CoinB and CoinB Master. And if you double click index, it should look like this. So in the browser, you should see users, your name, download. So this is running the entire website from my desktop. So we want to close this. We don't want to run it this way. The next thing is you want to make sure you have a wallet where you even have access to the private key. Of course, there's a million wallets, but one of the best wallets is either Sparrow or Electrum. And I'll go ahead and show you the site. Let me go to it. Electrum looks like this. It's a Bitcoin wallet, an extremely powerful wallet. Here's just some standard wallet I made just for testing. Has all the addresses. But if you right click and go to details, you can see the public key. But if you right click and go to private key, you can also see the private key. That's what we'll need. So let's use this first address. All right, and we go to details. Remember, the address is really just a hash of the public key. So we're going to take the public key, and then if we go over here, we can go to time locked address. And all you need to do is enter the public key, and then enter a date. Let's say you want to lock it for a year. I wouldn't recommend doing more than 2 years because who knows what happens. What if they do some upgrade on the Bitcoin network and you need to move it? You don't want to go too far out in the future. So let's say we just go to New Year's, and then we hit submit. That's it. There's your time locked address. So if you were to send funds to this address, you would still have control over it because, again, you have the private key to this address, but no one can spend it until the 31st of this year. So it's locked for 6 months into the future. Now, the one thing you need to always keep track of is this redeem script. All right, this is crucial. Now you can reconstitute this using this date because, well, let's save this. So let's go to our notepad. So I'll put here what I need to save. Okay, so obviously you need to save the address. All right, and you need to save the redeem script. Now, normally all you need to do to redeem a transaction is you need the public key along with the signature. This one has a little bit extra in it. So if I were to nerd out real quick, I can show you this. Where am I? This is the public key. So what is this garbage? This is Bitcoin script for check signature verify. Okay, that's fine. This is basically the date. So this is that December 31st. So basically, when you redeem this address, the Bitcoin network says, hey, is it December 31st, 2022? If it's not at least that date or in the future, it's rejected. So you never even get a chance to verify the public key because it's instantly rejected. So this is created by Satoshi himself. This isn't like some extra magical thing for you purists out there, but it is very important that you save this. So what I would do is, honestly, I would just copy this, and in Electrum you can do a label. So I'm going to go ahead, because remember, this is a different address. So this address is the SegWit version of that public key. This address is that public key with the time lock. So you want to make note of that. The other thing you need to save is this. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of weird with saving stuff, so you can do something like this, dash, dash, space, space, like that, if you want. Another thing you can do if you just like things really short and sweet is do this. Because really, the public key you already have. All right? So you can highlight all this and do something like that. All right? Because this is always the same. It's always gonna start with 04. Then there's always going to be 8 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's always going to be a B1. There's always going to be a 7.5. And there's always going to be a 2.1. And at the very end, there's always going to be an AC. So really all you need to store is this. So you can store either or. I just like to make things more streamlined. I don't know. I mean, it's my OCD, So in the future, I would just right-click, go to Details, get the public key, and then what I would do is just fill it back in. So either or, I just want to give you both options. All right? And that is essentially all you need. So let's go ahead and let's do a test. All right? Now, obviously, I don't want to do a test where it's that far in the future. Why are my emails up there? Okay. Oh, Chrome. There you go. So let's do another time lock address, but let's set it for something in the past, because obviously I just want to show you how to create the address, and I want to show you how to spend it. So I'm going to set it to something in the past. So this address, this is our new address, this will be immediately spendable. So I'm going to save this one, and I'm going to save this redeem script. That's what you have to hold on to. Okay, that's what I have. Now you want to go ahead and send some money to that. All right, well, let's go ahead and do that. Actually, I'll do it, I will do it with my little Coinbase account here. Does this show a QR code? Oh, it does. Okay. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and send some money over there. All right, I just sent funds over to that. If we go to a Bitcoin Explorer, I like mempool.space, and if we copy this address, paste, there it is, unconfirmed. It's from Coinbase, so obviously it's got a huge amount sent to a whole bunch of people. So while we're waiting for that to go through, I do want to go over something. Obviously, like I said previously, with security, you want to be using a hardware wallet. The problem is when you use a hardware wallet will never give you access to a private key, which means you can never use this, at least in the foreseeable future, with a hardware wallet, hopefully future generations. So you need to create a software wallet. This is a hot wallet. The problem with that, though, and this depends on how you define problem, but my issue is you have a set of seed words, okay? This is your seed words that you etch in metal. You have it protected. You got it in a safe deposit box. Hopefully you have a passphrase with it as well. You never want to enter your seed phrase into a computer. Obviously, it goes without saying, as soon as your seed words touch a computer, then it's no longer a cold storage wallet. It's hot, and it can never be cold again. So the whole purpose of a hardware wallet is a computer or any device that's connected to the internet should never have access to these seed words. So what you're left with is having to create a new set of seed words. So you have oh, that's not typing right. You have seed words 2, and you use this as your hot wallet. And you could do that. You can etch it on a separate piece of metal, call it a day, but you don't have to, because in the future there may be a lot of ways where you want sets of seed words. A lot of people don't know about BIP. I just forgot it. BIP 85, I believe. This is Bitcoin Improvement Proposal. Seed words allow you to create nearly infinite private keys and addresses, but you can also create nearly infinite sets of seed words that are all stemmed from one set of seed words. So basically, you don't have to keep recording and etching in metal every time you have a new set of seed words. All you need is one. All right, one ring to rule them all. Currently the only hardware wallet that supports that is the cold card, which is a kind of a high level card. To be honest, I love this card, but obviously I'm really nerdy. But this is the only one that allows you to do BIP 85 on the device, so it never has to touch the computer. So I would definitely recommend getting one of these. I primarily use my Ledger because it works great with the iPhone remotely, and I'm on the go. And I do use my Ledger, but I still have one of these. I mean, they are the lesser expensive of the two. They got a new model out, so $140. In the meantime, though, if you just want to play with this, you can go to iancoleman.io, and this will allow you to do the BIP 85. So I believe it's right here in BIP 39. Now, this thing, just like the other one, you don't want to run it from the website. Even if you're just doing tests, you want to save it. So on this one, I think you can just right-click and go to Save As, and you can save the whole website. Go to Save. So I've already saved it before, so it saves it. And now I can close this, and now when I open it, see, this is running directly from my desktop. So if I go here, if I just generate, again, normally you have your BIP 39 mnemonic. Those are your seed words. BIP 39 is the standard for everyone. This is what you want to protect with your life, but you never want this to touch a computer. What the cold card does is implement this BIP 85. And BIP 85, you can generate infinite. Like this is 12. Let's say I want to do another 24 set of words. And then I want another one. I just change it to 1, and 2, and 3. And you can keep going. The cold card lets you go all the way up to 10,000, And then what if you want a 12 word? So I can use this to create a new Electrum wallet, and I don't have to record it, because at any moment I can go to my cold card, which has my master set of seed words, and I could just go through the menu and I can derive this and then type it in. All right. So if we were to create a new Electrum wallet, if we go to New and go to Standard Wallet, I already have a seed phrase. In Electrum, you do need to go to Options and click BIP 39 Seed, because Electrum has its own kind of standard that is superior, to be honest, than the BIP 39. But you want to stick with BIP 39, in my opinion, because this seed phrase will work on any wallet: Treasure, Ledger, Cold Card, Bitbox, whatever, And then I can go ahead and type in the words, and then hit. And then if you do have a passphrase you want to add to it, you can say extend this seed with custom words. But you generally don't want to add a passphrase when you derive one, because that's just another thing you have to remember. Okay, it doesn't matter which of these options you do. We'll stick with native SegWit. And then you could put a password on the wallet. I won't put a password because this is just a test. And there you go. So that is what I advise to do, because if something happens and you have time-locked Bitcoin in this Electrum wallet, computer gets stolen, whatever, how are you going to get this information back? How are you going to reconstitute the lost information when all you have is these seed words saved in your bank vault? Well, now you can. With your cold card, you can reconstitute these words. You can reconstitute this entire wallet, and you can get your information, which is why I recommend this is public information, okay? So if if someone gets this address and redeem script, they can't steal anything from you. So you can save this in multiple places. Email it to yourself. Put it on your Dropbox, your OneDrive. Put it somewhere where you don't have to worry about high security with this. If someone were to get a hold of this, you would lose some privacy because they know this address belongs to you. But that's about it. So I just want to throw that out there for those of you that are very security conscious. All right, let's look at this address. Is it still? Let's refresh. Still unconfirmed. Okay, well, I'll come back as soon as it's confirmed. All right, the transaction has confirmed. So now let me go ahead and show you how to spend it. Let me refresh this. Oh, I do want to mention the Verify tab, because this is really important, especially if you're testing and you get nervous. You can verify, in case you're wondering, like, oh, shoot, is my redeem script correct? If you just put it into Verify and hit Submit, you'll see there it is. It shows you what address is from this, and it shows you the lock time, which we have in the past. So that's an easy way to kind of set your mind at ease. You can copy that, go back to your notepad and paste it and be like, is that the same thing? Okay, just want to double check, So there's always that Verify tab. So now let's go ahead and spend. So let's say it's sometime in the future and you're ready to spend it. You want to just copy your redeem script, which, you may email it to yourself. You may have it in your notes or whatever. And we're going to go over here and go to transaction. And we're going to go ahead and paste it right into here and click load. So this is automatically scanning the blockchain and finding all your UTXOs. So in this case, there's only one UTXO. There's only one transaction ID because I just paid to it once. But if you're dollar cost averaging and you're going to Coinbase and buying Bitcoin and immediately sending it to the time locked address every week, after a year you'll have 52 of these, Or if you have a miner set up to pay out to a time lock address, you'll have a whole bunch of IDs. So everything under inputs you don't need to touch. I just want to mention this is what it is. It's showing all the inputs. This program, even running from my desktop, works great. So then you go to outputs. Again, normally when my time lock address runs out, I'm just creating a new time locked address for further in the future, and putting that address. So you can walk through the same steps, create a new Bitcoin address, and just continue the trend. For this example, I'm just going to copy an address and put it in here. Now, the one quirky thing about this is it doesn't let you type in the transaction fee, and it puts this amount in. So here's the amount. If I were to copy it and paste it into amount, you'll see the fee, which is a fixed field. It's already calculated. If I delete like a 4, it puts the balance because this plus this always has to equal the amount. It always equals that. But the problem with that is this isn't converted to US dollars, so you're like, well, how much is my fee? What the heck am I doing? So if you just delete this, you'll go back to the whole amount. And if you copy that, and again, I'll redo it here. You can go to Google, just type in BTC to USD, type in the amount. You can see now it's $9.74. The next thing we want to know is, well, how much is the fee? I don't know what the fee is because, again, this doesn't have a built-in fee calculator. Most of the wallets, they have a little slider, low, medium, high. Here you have to do it yourself. If you set the fee too low, it won't go through for hours and hours or days, So, again, if you just use this same Explorer or any Explorer, it tells you what the network's like right now. No priority is 2 Satoshis, is 8 cents. High priority right now is about 59 cents. So let's just say we're going to make it $1. We're going to splurge because, we really want this to go through right away. Well, the easiest way to do that is just instead of 9.74, take it down a dollar, 8.74, and then just copy this amount, and then this is how much you want to transfer to this address. The change is automatically calculated, and it should be a dollar. So if we want to double check it, we can copy it and paste it. 98 cents. There you go. So here's our transaction. We're sending to this address, which again may be a new time locked address, maybe anything, maybe an address on your ledger, and it's going to do the full amount. And we go ahead and click submit, and it's going to show us the transaction. So we're just going to double click that and do Control C, and copy. Again, verify always works. So if you paste this whole thing into verify, again, it decodes it for you, and it says, hey, in case you don't know what this says, this is what it says. It says it's going to spend to this address for this amount, which is exactly what you want. So you can double check to make sure this is what you think it is. And then we're going to go over to sign. This is where we have to sign the transaction. So we're going to go ahead and paste it into here, and then we need to get our private key. And if you remember the private key, just right click and go to private key, and then I'm just going to double click to copy, to highlight, and I'm going to Control C, copy, and then paste. Put the private key in and hit submit. Now this is the signed transaction. So we're pretty much done at this point, And again, we can go back to verify. You can verify everything, and it'll read it, and again, it says the same thing. The difference is now it has a check mark. It knows it's signed. So now all we need to do is send this to the Bitcoin network. So we can go ahead and go to broadcast, paste, and then click submit. And there it is. Now, if you click view on blockchain, it'll go ahead and load it up. I think it uses a different blockchain explorer. Let's see which one it uses once that loads. But even if it goes to one that you don't like, we have the transaction ID, so we can just copy that, and we could use mempool. Paste. There it is. And of course it's unconfirmed, and we're waiting for it to go. Now, here's this one. Yeah, less than a minute ago, 0 of 6. This is just another explorer. I don't really like block cipher, so it's all personal choice. If this was set in the future and you try to do it right now, this would just give you an error. It wouldn't even let you. And assuming you got it to go onto the blockchain, which you can do, I've done so many tests like this where I did one where it was like 3 days into the future, and I submitted it, and it went through. But it just sat in the mempool for 3 days, and then eventually it went through. Because the mempool can read it. It knows what it says. It says, oh, you're trying to pay to this public key, but not till this time. Well, it's 3 days. I'll hold on to it, But if you try to submit it more than 2 or 3 days, most of the mempools will just reject it, And then that's how you spend your time lock coin. Again, normally you'll just be redoing the whole process and creating a new time lock. Now, I want to definitely differentiate between. Why is this not connected? That's weird. Let me just turn this on real quick. Oh yeah, because I sent some money over here to do a test. This is bonus, so you can tune out right now if you want. But there's another time lock feature that's the lock time, and people get that confused. So now I have $8 on this address, right? Because this is what I sent it to. Remember, it was 9.78. Now it's 8.78. Let's say I wanted to. Let's say this was like $1 million, and I wanted to send it to give it to my son, but I want to give it to him in the future. Not $1 million. Let's say it's a college fund, and you want to send it to him in the future. So your son goes on Coinbase and gets an address and gives it to you. Say, hey, Dad, here's my Bitcoin address. All right, so let's do this one. This Bitcoin address. All right, I'm going to copy the address. All right, and then you go over here, and I'm going to click this, and I'm going to say spend from. All right, I'm going to spend from this one. And then I click send, and I'm going to send to him, and this is like for your future, and I'm going to send it all. And then I'm going to click on pay. and it brings up the transaction. Normally, you never touch this. The block height is just set to the standard height. But you can actually change this, again, to a date in the future. You can actually do it by blocks. It's better to do by actual date and time. But let's say we were to do this the same way, 12/1/22 at 10:30 a.m. If you were to do this, right, put a lock time. Here, at least you have the fees. It calculates the fee ratio. And then you click finalize. All right, so now it's locked in, this lock time. And then you were to sign it. Okay, I'm going to sign it. But you don't want to broadcast it. Okay, if you did try to broadcast it, it wouldn't work anyways. And then I'm going to go ahead and click export, copy to clipboard. All right. This was the same thing we got before. This was the big giant thing that we went to broadcast. So in the example we just did, when we went to broadcast, that's what this is right here. And if I were to broadcast, it wouldn't work. Watch, it's going to reject it. See? It rejects it. Why does it reject it? Well, again, I can go to verify, paste this, hit submit. Well, it rejected it because this is locked to the future. Now, this one doesn't really decode this for you. Actually, in Electrum will actually decode it. Let's see if I hit broadcast here. Again, error. It's like, I don't like that, However, in Electrum, you can go to Tools, and you could go to Load Transaction from Text. If I put this transaction in here and hit load, it reads it, and it says, oh, it's locked till December 1st, 2022. Now, what does this mean? What this means is that if you go ahead and you copy and paste and email this to your son, he has access to this money, and only he can access it. Remember, you cannot change this at all. If you change just 1, 0, or 1, if you change one character, the whole thing will fall apart because the signature will no longer work, And so your son, as soon as it hits December 1st, 2022, whatever, he can go ahead and broadcast this. And again, every blockchain has a broadcaster. I mean, normally you don't look at them like mempool.space. It's right here, broadcast transaction, and broadcast. Of course, it says non-final because it's like you can't do that yet. But after December 1st, he can hit broadcast, and boom, all the funds linked to those particular addresses will go to his address. Now, the problem with this is this can easily change, because what if between now and December you move these funds, you move them to another address? Well, if you move them to another address or another transaction, then this no longer works. It's just invalid, So that's why that's a much more inferior method, and creating a time-locked address is much better, Now, there's obviously more advanced methods, which I kind of prefer, where you can do like a multi-sig, because you may ask yourself, well, shoot, what if there's an emergency? What if I need to get to my funds, before 2 years from now, you could do basically like a if-else. You can say, you know what, if it's at least 2 years in the future, I can spend it. Else 2 of 2 multi-sig between me and, let's say, my best friend, and your best friend, let's say after a year you're really weak and you're freaking out and the market's really low, but you told your best friend a year ago, no matter what, don't let me sell unless my kid is dying and is in the hospital and I need the money to save his life, And so your friend can at least be a check on you, Or you could also think of stuff like, well, what happens if you're in a multi-sig and someone dies? Obviously you don't want to do a 2 of 2, but let's say a 2 of 3 multi-sig, and with you and your 2 business partners, and your 2 business partners die in a plane crash. So now you're never able to access that money. But if you structure it like this, then maybe your business partners agree, like, you know what, after 2 years, if we haven't moved this to another time-locked address, then you can have it, you know. So that can be a fallback, for a multi-sig. But that's a more advanced thing. I just wanted to show you a simple time-locked address, really great. Again, the key is using Electrum, or this is the easiest Bitcoin wallet that gives you all the information you need. Get a cold card, because the cold card allows you to do the entropies, because you don't want to have to save a whole bunch of seed words, or if you want, just fine, create a new set of seed words and keep that in a safe place, because this is a hot wallet. It is on the computer. This is as secure as you're going to get for a hot wallet, but it's just something to be aware of.